melt is when I ocean wave.
Yeah, man. Well, today on Nova Legends podcast, I have Darryl Overton, whose Freedom Eagles are back in the state final after winning last year with a high profile date with Highland Springs in Charlottesville, 11:30 on Saturday. Coach, congratulations! Great to see you again.
Man, thank you again. Appreciate you having me again. Like you said, feel honored.
Yeah. Well, look, Coach, I know fans can take things for granted. Freedom by 40. It's easy. You guys are better. But when you're a coach, whenever you win and when you able to achieve another goal, cross another one of these rivers or whatever, it's a great feeling. I know after all the work you put into these boys, it must feel great to be back in the state championship again.
Obviously, like you said, other people may think stuff is promised. But again, man, anybody that's not just a coach but a parent, nothing is for sure with young people, man. They're constantly evolving. They always got stuff going on, whether it be life, football, whatever. So, can't take nothing for granted. And again, like you said, no matter what level, it's not easy winning. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I went to the Madison game and I saw you guys live. And, it's great to see a team live. You can't get the same effect when you watch film. And so it's a different feeling. And I felt this Madison team was better than last year's team. They'd beaten some really nice teams, and every challenge that they put in front of them, except for South Lakes, they handled pretty well. They were a seasoned team, and they had a great year. But I felt, halfway through the first quarter, they could not compete. The quarterback had a very hard time seeing over your defensive ends, outside linebackers. They couldn't even see the wide receivers. They're great running back Nisley. They did have a plan to hit some seams off the right tackle. I felt like they had some vulnerabilities there. So they had, they were able to get some yards, but I felt really early on they just couldn't attack you this year. What were your thoughts early on in the game?
Well, again, like you said, I know that, Coach Count's always going to get the best out of his group. So when you got well-coached teams, it's kind of difficult to tell, what you have as personnel, because sometimes some of the coaches are good enough to overcome their personnel. Mm-hmm. And that's just the truth. And he's probably a great example of a guy that gets the most out no matter what he has. But with that said, watching film, they're not working with the same guys that we working with. We know that. The other thing is, I think, which is bigger than the Joes, is competition, man. The game speed. Like, we've played a DeMatha, a Dunbar who won the DCIAA championship. DeMatha, who was in the WCAC championship. St. Michael's, who we beat pretty bad, but St. Michael has played Benedictine, Trinity, DeMatha. Yeah. So the game speed's a little different.
Yeah.
And again, I think sometimes you don't put your face in those type of fans. You really don't know what you have. Because to be honest with you, like you said, man, I respect Coach Counts, Coach Hatfield very much. They're both great coaches. And, Coach Hatfield, I thought he had a good team. I just don't think that they had seen the level of play. Not necessarily my players, but that level of play yet. Because of their schedule. And it's not always, he's a new coach, so he inherited the schedule he has. But I think a lot more has to go into, for our area coaches and stuff, is getting your team ready with competition. I think that can't be overlooked, man. And again, it's a difference. It's a difference when you've been in certain fights than when you haven't. And you got to put your kids in those fights, win, lose, or draw, especially where the point system is set up. It doesn't hurt you to play against good teams and good competition.
Yeah. Well, Coach, it's your schedule, but it's also matchups. I felt when the quarterback dropped back to pass, even when they made a 5-yard completion, it was like a miraculous catch to get 5 yards. And they really had a hard time finding receivers. Last year, they had some plays. They had some receivers open. They had some big tight ends they can hit. This year, I just didn't see where they could hurt you very early on. When did you feel good and that you were in good shape? When did that feeling come? Is this we're in good shape this year.
Well, this year, never. Not even yet. Not until after we win Saturday. Again, I know we have a good team.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I knew that. With that becomes getting a good team better throughout the year. You know what I mean? So I knew we had a good team. Obviously, we returned a lot of great players from a team obviously won the state championship. But again, you have to figure out ways to get better. You know, we were able to get better throughout the year. We played really good games and tough teams early. And then I think, again, like you said, it's definitely about matchups, but it's about being prepared, man. Our quarterback, probably the same height as their quarterback. You know what I mean? It's about being prepared. Our guy has had to create passing lanes before. You know what I mean? Versus D1, DNs, stuff like that. Again, it's something to be said about pushing yourself and being able to adjust in the moment.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting because I do think, last year you lost two or three really good players, and great players. But I really think your skill players have really improved this year. I mean, I was telling your brother Jeff that he may be the best. Jeff Overton may be the best running back I have seen live ever. And I know there's other. I didn't see Damon Boone play. I know there's other running backs I may not have seen, but you can't tackle this guy. And I think what's lost in this is when you win so easily, people forget how good individual players may be. And again, I went to high school with Chris Warren, who's a Hall of Fame nominee. I mean, your quarterback has gotten better from last year. Juju Preston is harder to tackle and better. So your players, it's been a moving target with your team this year. I actually think Madison came back with a strong team, but I think Freedom actually gotten better. So I really enjoyed going down there and seeing you guys live. It was you have to see a team live to really know what they can do. And also, you mentioned earlier the team speed. You can't see the speed on video. The speed is something when you're in person. The team speed, the speed of the game is something that it's easier to see when you're actually at the game.
Absolutely, and like you said, you can go over our plays in practice, but if you don't have people to duplicate it, you really don't know till it's happening. And usually, I say that it takes when you're down 14-0 for you to get adjusted to the speed that we're gonna play at and the speed you used to playing at.
Exactly. Well, let's talk a little bit about Highland Springs. First of all, how do you feel about a neutral site? Now, to me, it's a lifetime memory to go to UVA and play in the state championship. It's something different. As nice as it would be to be a home game, or as fun it would be to beat Highland Springs on the home field. How do you feel about going to a neutral field like UVA and playing the state championship?
I mean, love it for the kids, man. And it's the state of Virginia, period, with high school to our universities. Play they should continue to do that. Not only, like you said, is it a neutral site, but it allows the kids to have an experience. It puts our state schools in the forefront. It kind of shows some kids that their dreams are tangible. You know what I mean? Running out on that field. And sometimes that's what, kids need. You just need somebody to breathe life into dreams, because it's easy to talk about going to college, playing football and all that. And then you have a moment like that, and that makes it kind of tangible. You know what I mean? So I think VHSL is doing the right thing with that. Continue to do so. Again, it makes it about more than the game itself, which is ultimately, what we all want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting for the kids to run out, at UVA and to play a game like that. So, first of all, I know you respect Lauren White, Coach White, and a lot. I'm sorry. Yeah, I messed that up. But, there was a situation at the Lake Braddock game, Coach. And whenever you're the best team or you're winning in a tournament, it's easy to get triggered. And a situation happened in that game where I think they lost one of the best players for the game coming up. When you're coaching a team in a tournament where it's a knockout, when it's elimination, you've been in a situation where folks are trying to get your players riled up. and they're playing dirty or whatever. It's part of the game. You know, what is your feeling about the situation that happened with Lake Braddock and the fact that there was almost a fight after the game, and it looks like one of the Highland Springs players might not be able to play this week?
Well, without speculating too much, like you said, it's again, me and Coach Johnson, we friends. We
Johnson,
talked,
yeah.
we talked, man. For a long time. Last night, and the thing is, when you're dealing with young people, you got to teach them keep your emotions in check, and that's on either side, win, lose, or draw. Obviously, we've been through it, but again, I always tell people, just like I'm sure Coach Johnson feels, we try to respect the game no matter what. You know what I mean? The game we love, no matter what's going on, you walk away from it. But again, as humans, and especially when we're teenagers, that's hard to do at times. So again, I don't want to. I've been blessed that it hasn't happened, that we've been able to keep our emotion in check. I remember a situation last year where one of our kids was on the sideline of another team, and he was grabbed and roughed up by people on the sideline. But again, I don't want to sit up on a high horse like my team is or my kids are immune to that. But all we can do is continue to educate young people, man, on being in control of your emotions, no matter what, football or not. You know what I mean? There's times in the workplace where you want to smack the heck out of somebody sometimes, but you can't. You know what I mean? So there's people that's going to press your buttons for the rest of life, and you can't say it's their fault. You in control of your own actions, and that's all we can continue to do with young people, especially, my kids in my school. I'm gonna make sure my kids know that. Don't blame nobody else for your actions. You only can control what you can control. So, I think that's a lesson in it. Again, I wasn't there, so I don't know what was right, wrong, and different, who was happening to who. But I think the thing to take from it is everybody walked away without, fighting. Adults stepped in at some point and kind of, died down the situation, which is what we all want to see, because we don't want to bring any embarrassment to what we want to do and love, to our families, to our schools, to who we are as people, none of that. So I've been there, not just as a player, as a coach, but again, you got to kind of always side on taking the high road, no matter how difficult that is. And sometimes young people don't understand. Shoot, a lot of adults don't understand, but young people, it's tough. And what you want to see, still, as much as people try to make out of the situation, there was a minority of people that maybe made a wrong decision, not a majority. So that's the important thing to me. I think that's what everybody takes from it. It was a minority. It wasn't a bunch of people fighting or acting crazy. And even what happened with the young man, I don't know it to be true or to be not. Like I tell the kids, the referee could see something as a punch, a push, a shove that wasn't. Just based off turning around, angle. Don't put yourself in that type of situation. So again, like I said, I don't want to say that the young man did anything wrong, because I don't know that he did or not. I just know that if a ref perceives it that way, it's automatic. And I tell the kids that every game. I'm like, why you getting mad at me? The referee said it's an unsportsmanlike. You have to do what he says. I don't care if your knees aren't covered. The referee said they must be covered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, whether it's that or, going back and forth, you got to tell them, man, it's the referee. You got to follow the rules.
Yeah. I did feel there was a measure of respect between Madison and Freedom the other day. I saw a lot of situations where Madison players were helping Freedom players up and stuff. And I know Madison had to be frustrated because they were helpless, but I felt like they didn't take it out on Freedom players, and it was nice to see. I mean, sometimes the best team is just going to win. You have to accept it. Coach, when you think about X and O's, I know Highland Springs has got a top quarterback, Christian Martin, your running back Eric Bird. When you think of X and O's, what kind of matchup is Highland Springs and Freedom? I know, Highland Springs has this amazing program that's been going on for many, many years in football and also basketball. Whereas Freedom is, you built this. This is you and your brother. You guys have put this program on the map. So, but when you get down to the X and O's, what kind of matchup is this on Saturday?
Man, I think, like you said, Highland Springs X and O wise, they're a physical running team. They're a power running team. They do a lot of good things up front on offense. To keep you honest, to create, running lanes. They got 3 good running backs actually that they use, in number 22, number 20, and a kid 14. And then when you think you got that figured out, they run the quarterback a little bit. So, they do a good job getting the ball to their playmakers. They do a lot of good things formation-wise to kind of set up, their run lanes and run plays that they want to run. So, they'll test our, discipline in our run fits and stuff like that. And then on defense, they're athletic and they do a good job disguising their true intentions on the defensive side of the ball. Again, man, they just play, good football, tackling and blocking, man. I tell everybody, no matter what scheme you run, it's going to come down to blocking and tackling. And, they do a good job of that. So, we're going to try to, like you said, take advantage of some things that we want to, as I'm sure they are. But again, I like the matchup no matter what. We got to stop what they're good at, as they got to do with us.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach Counts said, and you mentioned this as well, that it's very hard to duplicate what you guys do in practice. He told me that last year. So he said it's hard to prepare for them because you can't. We know the formation. We know the formation, but we don't have the players. Highland Springs has a lot of team speed. Do you think Coach Johnson is better able to duplicate what you guys do in practice? Do you think they can prepare for Freedom?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think they'll be better off, preparing for us, obviously. It still won't be, 4, D1 guys, on the scout team. But, again, they've seen it before. You know what I mean? They've played Amari. You know what I mean? They've played a Veranda. You know what I mean? They've played in Florida. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes what you can't duplicate in practice, the schedule can help prepare you. So, they've seen it before. You know what I mean? As a team, as a program, and the coaching staff, again, it won't be exactly the same guys, but they've seen it before.
Yeah. So, Coach, obviously, and Matthew Hatfield, I just got off with him. He picked you guys. Matthew's never wrong. Do you foresee a high scoring game on Saturday, or you think it could be maybe even a defensive battle?
I think we're equipped to do both, win either way. I would like it to be high scoring because I feel like that plays in our favor. Obviously, I always wanted to be high scoring on my end, not on the other end. I feel like the more points scored, the better, our chances are. I feel like, we can grind it out. Our defense is pretty good as much as they get overlooked. Our defense is pretty daggone good too. But, I know they probably want to muggy it up and be physical and be tough and make it, kind of a road grader type game and grind it out. But I feel like we're tough enough to do both. But I agree with you on that. I know for a fact that they can, do a better job simulating, but I would prefer us scoring a lot and minimizing in theirs.
Yeah. I actually don't think your defense gets enough credit. I've watched Madison at least 4 or 5 times this year against good defenses, against South Lakes, against Stonebridge. I saw them against Lake Braddock. They moved the ball easily, and there was just nothing against you guys. I think that your defense gets a little bit lost, and you got linemen. You're strong on the line, but those skill players that we see on offense, they're all playing defense too, and they're amazing athletes, and they're energetic defenders. So I do think your defense gets lost a little bit in the shuffle because it's and they're great. So, Coach, I appreciate your time. I know you're busy this week. Tomorrow, I believe you're going to Charlottesville. You're playing either Miller School or you're playing St. Anne's Belfield.
Miller School.
Middle school. So, tell me a little bit. You told me last week you had high hopes for this season. How's the basketball season started this year?
So we played one game. We lost to St. Anne Bellevue by Belleville. Sorry, by 20. Good team. They lost the young lady that went to UVA. Come on, but they brought back like 3 other players, so they did better at basketball early than us. It was a low scoring game. We fizzled out. We weren't able to stand in front of them. So we'll get another opportunity versus Miller School, another traditional good team. And then the girls play Friday and Saturday in the She Got Game Classic, they play versus team from Queens, New York, and a team from Brooklyn. So we got a good basketball week ahead of us against some good teams. And like I told you, no different than football. In basketball, we're gonna play the best people to get ourselves ready, and again to expose the girls to high level basketball from a playing recruiting standpoint. So we only played one game on purpose because I knew I had this going on. Well, I intended on having this going on with football. And I didn't want to have to miss a bunch because again, like the girls are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, you'll be able to focus. I also understand that some of your football players are good basketball players. I think Juju Preston is a member of the basketball team. How many of your guys are going to be, contributing on the basketball?
So Elijah Reed will be 3-year starter for basketball and football as well. Aaron Duncan was a starter last year on basketball, number 11. And Juju Preston as well started some games at basketball. We got a young kid, freshman receiver that's about 6'3", Tyson Washington. He plays basketball. And then Kyrie Bullock plays basketball. So we got a couple guys. I know Coach Harris, he can't wait to get them guys back, but he's gonna have to wait at least one more weekend.
Yeah. I wish you could have seen Coach Harris when he was young. He used to try to chase me out of that gym. Coach Harris, he's mellowed. When Coach Harris was young, Coach Harris was tough, man. I feel like he would yell at me when I parked my car to get to the game. I was an official. I remember he started yelling at me when I started parking my car. I mean, Coach Harris was a tough man. So,
man, that's my guy, man. A lot of love, respect between us, man. He's been a good dude since he got here. So much respect to him.
Oh no, I love Coach Harris is a great coach. In the 90s, and there was no one who put more players, possibly South Lakes, but besides that, there's no one to put more players in Division I than Coach Harris. Coach Harris was an innovator. He changed the game up here. I mean, he played basketball. He started basketball in a way we had never seen up here, and the kind of points they scored and the number of players he put on Division I rosters was unbelievable. So, I love Coach Harris. I always tease him because he was tough to officiate, Coach. But that's my man. So
yeah, good dude, man.
Good dude. So anyway, Coach, I know you're busy. Best of luck. I'll see you down in Charlottesville. Bring home the state title.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you and your son.
Yeah.
Everybody watching, man. Like, subscribe, share, support who support us, and your kids support them.
Appreciate you, Coach. Appreciate you saying that. And I will see you after the game, Coach.
All right, brother.
Everybody, take care.